The harbor was a restless beast at dawn, its pulse quickening as the first light bled across the San Diego skyline. Waves slapped against the piers, their rhythm broken by the guttural churn of a cargo ship's engines. Officer Ethan Caldwell felt the familiar weight of his gear shift as he stepped onto the concrete dock, his boots echoing in the crisp morning air. Beside him, Titan, a sleek German shepherd with eyes like polished obsidian, moved with predatory grace, his ears twitching at sounds no human could catch. A sudden shout pierced the calm dockworker's cry cut off mid-sentence, followed by the unmistakable clatter of metal hitting pavement. Ethan's hand instinctively dropped to his holster, his pulse spiking. Titan froze, hackles raised, staring toward the source, a shadowed figure sprinting across the pier, vanishing behind a stack of crates. What the hell was that? Ethan muttered, his voice low but sharp. Titan's growl was answer enough trouble was brewing, and they were about to walk right into it. The San Diego harbor sprawled before them, a maze of steel and salt water alive with the chaos of commerce. Cranes loomed like skeletal giants, their arms swinging crates skyward, while seagulls wheeled overhead, shrieking for scraps. The air carried a cocktail of diesel, brine, and the faint tang of fish from the market nearby. Ethan, a 10-year veteran of the harbor police, had patrolled these docks long enough to know their rhythm, but something felt off today. Titan sensed it too, his nose working the air, tail stiff as he scanned the bustle. They'd been partners for 3 years, ever since Ethan lost his first canine, a loyal Malinois named Ghost, to a smuggler's blade during a raid. Titan, a rescue from a cartel compound in Tijuana, had been a different kind of challenge-wary, scarred, but fiercely intelligent. Their bond, forged in sweat and trust, was unbreakable now. As they approached the Pacific dawn, a hulking cargo vessel flying a Panamanian flag, Ethan's radio crackled. "Caldwell, you're on inspection duty," came the voice of Sergeant Lena Torres, her tone clipped. "Intel's got chatter about this ship. Cartels are pushing harder, seizures are up 25 Fantram this quarter. Be thorough." Ethan acknowledged, his eyes narrowing as he studied the ship. Its hull sat low in the water, heavy with cargo, and crewmen moved briskly on deck, their motions too precise, too practiced. Titan's ears flicked, his body tensing as they neared the gangway. Ethan scratched behind his partner's ears, a habit that grounded them both. "Let's see what's hiding, boy." The gangway groaned under their weight as they boarded. A man in a pristine white uniform approached, his stride confident, but his smile tight. "Officer, welcome aboard the Pacific Dawn. I'm Captain Luis Navarro." His voice carried a faint Central American lilt, and his handshake was firm, almost too firm. Ethan introduced himself and Titan, noting how Navarro's gaze lingered on the dog, a flicker of unease crossing his weathered face. "Routine inspection," Ethan said, keeping his tone neutral. "Shouldn't take long if everything's in order." Navarro nodded, gesturing toward the deck. "Of course. We're carrying industrial parts, coffee, some textiles. All standard. But we're behind schedule. Storm off Panama slowed us. Idea presieta afición." Ethan caught the subtle edge in Navarro's voice, the way his fingers tapped against his thigh, his eyes darting to his watch. Nervousness wasn't uncommon around cops, but this felt different, calculated, like a man playing a role. Titan, meanwhile, was already at work, his nose sweeping the deck, nostrils flaring as he cataloged scents. Ethan followed his partner's lead, letting the dog set the pace. They started in Navarro's office, a cramped space lined with nautical charts and a desk buried under paperwork. The captain handed over a stack of documents, cargo manifests, crew lists, port clearances, his movements deliberate. "Everything you need," he said, but his eyes tracked Titan, who was methodically sniffing the room's edges. The air-conditioned chill couldn't mask the bead of sweat on Navarro's temple. Titan paused near a filing cabinet, his tail stiffening, a sign Ethan knew well. Interest, not yet a full alert, but enough to raise his hackles. "Whose office is this?" Ethan asked, casual but probing. Mine alone, Navarro replied, too quickly. Ethan nodded, filing it away. They moved to the crew quarters next, guided by the first officer, a wiry man named Salazar. The cabins were Spartan bunk beds, narrow lockers, the faint smell of sweat and metal. In a second cabin, Titan's Beehive VY were shifted. He circled a locker, nostrils working overtime, then sat, staring at it with laser focus. Not a full alert, but close. Whose stuff? Ethan asked. Salazar checked his clipboard. Javier Cruz and Mateo Diaz. Mechanics. Ethan opened the locker, finding nothing but clothes and a cheap radio. Still, Titan's interest gnawed at him. As they continued, Ethan noticed Navarro lingering nearby, always just within earshot, his presence too frequent to be chance. In the galley, Titan zeroed in on two crewmen at a card table, Cruz and Diaz. Cruz, stocky with a scar across his knuckles, shifted uncomfortably, while Diaz, younger and leaner, kept his eyes on his cards, too still. Routine check, Ethan said, watching their reactions. Might need to chat later. Cruz's jaw tightened, and Diaz's fingers froze on a card. Titan's low whine told Ethan they were onto something. The captain's quarters were last. As they approached, Navarro stepped in front of the door, his posture rigid. Officer, my quarters are private. Maritime law protects that. His voice was firm, but his eyes betrayed panic. Ethan kept his cool, though his pulse quickened. Port security code overrides that, Captain. We check everything. Before he could argue, Titan moved, slipping past Navarro to sit squarely in front of the door, his posture rigid, full alert. Ethan's stomach tightened. Titan's got a hit. Open the door. Navarro's face paled, his hands trembling as he fumbled with the key. Your dog's wrong, he insisted, but his voice cracked. The door swung open, and Titan surged inside, beelining for a safe bolted to the wall. He sat again, unwavering. Ethan's tone hardened. Open it. Now. Navarro hesitated, then complied, his movements sluggish. Inside were a passport, a USB drive, a logbook, and a small velvet pouch. Ethan opened the pouch, revealing a plastic bag of white powder and another with pale tablets. His field test confirmed it. Cocaine, high grade, and MDMA. Care to explain? Ethan asked, his voice like steel. Navarro's denial was instant. Not mine. Someone planted it. The logbook was worse pages of coded entries, dates, and container numbers that didn't match the official manifest. Ethan's radio crackled as he called for backup, his eyes never VYing Navarro. As officers boarded, Ethan's mind flashed to Titan's origins. Found half dead in a Tijuana ditch, shot twice during a cartel raid. The pup had clawed his way back to life. Ethan had been skeptical at first. Could a dog with that kind of trauma be trusted? But Titan proved him wrong, sniffing out a hidden meth stash on their first mission together, earning Ethan's respect and loyalty. Now, as Titan maintained his alert by the safe, Ethan felt that same certainty. His partner didn't miss. The cargo hold was a labyrinth of containers, their steel walls echoing with the hum of ventilation. Titan led the way, his nose guiding them to container B, 317, marked as carrying textile machinery. He circled it, then sat, his signal unmistakable. Ethan's team pried it open, revealing crates labeled as loom parts. Titan zeroed in on one, and when they cracked it, the truth spilled out. Hollowed-out machinery packed with vacuum-sealed bricks of cocaine, lined with carbon fabric to mask the scent. Cartel engineering, Ethan muttered, marveling at the precision. This cost more than the drugs. They hit two more containers, each with similar setups, drugs hidden in air conditioners and engine blocks, bound for Los Angeles and Seattle. As they worked, Ethan caught movement overhead. Cruz and Diaz slipping along a catwalk, their steps too quiet. Runners, he whispered to Officer Ramirez, his backup. Cut them off. Ramirez nodded, taking another officer to flank them. A shout rang out. Cruz bolted. Diaz froze, then sprinted for an exit. Ramirez tackled Diaz, zip-tying him as Cruz vanished into the ship's upper structure. Ethan's radio buzzed with reports. Navarro was missing, slipped away during the chaos. Titan tensed, his nose pointing to a shadowed corner of the hold. Ethan followed, heart pounding, as they emerged onto the main deck. The sun glared off the water, and through the crowd, Ethan spotted Navarro, jacket shed, blending with dockworkers near the gangway. "Navarro, stop!" Ethan shouted. The captain bolted, show VYing a worker aside. "Titan block!" Ethan commanded. The dog shot forward, a black and tan blur, cutting Navarro off at the gangway. Titan planted himself, stance wide, eyes locked on the captain. "No grol, no verte just absolute control." Navarro skidded to a halt, cursing. "Move, damn it!" he yelled, but Titan didn't budge. Ethan closed in, officers flanking him. "It's done, Navarro." The captain's eyes darted wildly. Then he spun, sprinting for the ship's far side. "He's going for the water!" Ethan yelled, GIVYing chase with Titan at his heels. Navarro vaulted the railing, plunging into the harbor with a splash. Ethan hit the edge, spotting him swimming hard for a nearby pier. "Titan, water pursuit!" The dog leaped, hitting the water like a spear. Ethan raced down a ladder, keeping them in sight as Titan closed a gap, his strokes powerful and precise. Navarro glanced back, panic etched on his face as Titan neared. He dove, trying to lose the dog, but Titan circled, waiting. When Navarro surfaced, gasping, Titan was there, inches away, holding position. Ethan shouted from the pier, "Give it up! Patrol's coming!" A harbor boat's siren wailed, closing in. Navarro's strength faltered, his strokes slowing. Titan stayed close, relentless but calm, until the captain finally stopped, treading water in defeat. Officers hauled him aboard, dripping and handcuffed, as Ethan met Titan at a boat ramp, Huntington Ramp, toweling the dog dry. "Hell of a dog," one officer said, shaking his head. Ethan grinned, ruffling Titan's fur. "Best damn partner there is." The next morning, the briefing room hummed with energy. Chief Alvarez stood at the podium, addressing a packed crowd. Harbor Police, DEA, Customs, FBI. Photos of the seizure flashed on screen. 280 kilos of cocaine, Dula 16 million street value, plus documents linking the operation to a Sinaloa cartel cell. "This started with Officer Caldwell and K9 Titan," Alvarez said, nodding to Ethan. "Their instincts cracked this wide open." A DEA agent added, "Titan's detection exposed concealment tech we've never seen. Door masking compounds, precision-engineered compartments. This is a game-changer." After, Alvarez pulled Ethan aside. "You trusted Titan when it counted. That's what makes you exceptional." Ethan shrugged, glancing at his partner, sprawled contentedly at his feet. "He's the one who smelled trouble. I just listened." Later, they walked the docks, passing the Pacific Dawn, now sealed with EVY Denke tape. Ethan tossed a tennis ball, watching Titan bound after it, tail wagging. "You didn't care about the bust, did you?" he said, kneeling beside the dog. "You just love the chase." Titan dropped the ball, nudging it with his nose, ready for more. Ethan laughed, throwing it again, the harbor stretching out before them. Another day, another hunt, and the best partner he could ever ask for.